Hello. Thank you for stopping by and watching the video. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'm just going to be discussing the new Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, or as Joe Biden calls him, Rishi Sunaki. I think he's called. What is going on with Joe Biden anyway? Apparently he got lost in the White House gardens. Anyway, we're not talking about him. We're talking about Sunak, the new Prime Minister. He's a friend of the markets, obviously. He has ties to extremely wealthy backers. He's a former Goldman Sachs employee. Something I have in common with him, being also a former Goldman Sachs employee. And just touch on the culture there. Goldman Sachs generally hire the best. Well, the best of the best, as much as they can. But all tier 1 banks will tell you the same thing, that they hire the best of the best. So they get the interns in and they choose the best of the best. So to actually get into Goldman Sachs for Rishi Sunak, he does have some ability when it comes to numbers. There's no denying that. Goldman Sachs do not hire duds. And if for some reason you manage to blag your way through an interview, if you don't show the potential that they expect from you, you get cut out, you get booted. It's as simple as that. So if he's managed to hold down a job there, then that speaks for itself, to be honest. So that's that out the way. Obviously he's a friend to the city. He's a friend to all his very influential and wealthy backers. I just can't understand why we had to have the intervention of Liz Truss for the 4 to 5 weeks. I just don't understand what was going on there. All polls had Sunak winning, so I don't know. Be interesting to see what Jim O'Neill, who features on Sky News every now and again, what he says about Rishi Sunak. Jim O'Neill is the former head of economy. He's an economist, or was at Goldman Sachs as well. Very nice chap. Man United supporter. Loyal Man United supporter. Interesting note that my colleague and now friend Andy, who worked alongside with me at Goldman Sachs, he used to support Jim O'Neill mostly exclusively. But I think Andy was away on holiday or something, but it was over Christmas and I was in the pub having Christmas lunch and a few pints, and Jim O'Neill rang me. He couldn't get his ISDN working. Yeah, so fun and games after a couple of pints and halfway through my meal. But if out of any particular reason Jim O'Neill just happens to stop by the channel and see this, I did get you up and running, Jim. Did get you back up and running, so no harm done, eh? I digressed again. Now, of all the good things you could say about Rishi Sunak and his connections and how he can stabilise the markets, how he probably has the trust of the Bank of England, he is still just an interim Prime Minister. The idea being that at some point, sooner rather than later, he will be replaced by Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer this week, interestingly enough, went completely stopped Nick Ferrari, I think it was, on LBC, dead in his tracks about discussing re-entering the EU. Even though Keir Starmer wanted a second referendum, he's now saying no, that's not going to happen. Under my leadership, what's going to happen is that we're just going to make it work. It's not working. It's obvious. The evidence is all around us. Obviously, Rishi Sunak went against David Cameron's advice and backed to leave the EU. But he surrounds himself with Remainers, very influential Remainers. So how you square that one off, I don't know. Obviously, famously, Liz Truss started out as a Remainer and then changed her mind. as people can do. They can change their minds. It's what we do. Now, the reason why 5 minutes in, the whole thing I want to talk about Rishi Sunak is he is a strong backer of what we call CBDCs, central bank digital coupons. It's digital money. And his idea is that he wants to bring this system in alongside our current monetary system, but ultimately him and his backers want to transfer us over to a fully digitized currency. Now, some of you may think, well, what's wrong with that? We've got Bitcoin now. We've got quite a few different cryptocurrencies, all using the blockchain technology to protect it. What is wrong with a central bank administered digital currency? Well, that's the question for today that I'm going to leave you with. Now, some of you may think, well, get away with the paper, no overheads for that, don't have to mint the coins anymore, it's probably a good thing. Then there'll be some of us, like myself included, who are very cautious over this, because you are taking away cash, and you're putting your money into centralised. It'll be centralised within the Bank of England. That has downfalls. That has potential abuses in the system that could happen. So, my question for you today to think on is these digital coupons, as they're called, not digital currency, digital coupons, whether you think it would be a good idea for us to be moved over to it. Now, all G7 countries want ultimately to move in this direction. There's a lot of communication between them all on how they implement this and how it's all going to work. So they are doing the, Jesus, am I popular today or what? There's a lot of communication going on. They're going to make this work. However, whether they beat a square peg into a round hole with a big stick, this is where they want to go with the digital currency, coupons, I'm sorry. So think on that. Food for thought, I think, whether you're alarmed by it or whether you're quite happy for it to do. If you pay by card anyway, if you're just a tap your card, you're virtually there anyway. There would be no difference between having money in the bank and having the digital currency regulated by the Bank of England. The only difference is that the Bank of England can press a button at any time and stop you accessing your funds, potentially. Whereas if you've got cash, well, you've got cash. It's still accepted and you can still buy things. Bit cumbersome when you're talking about £2,000 to £3,000 being carried around, but I don't think anybody does that anymore. Obviously, coins, I wouldn't be particularly sad to see the back of those, because if you've ever been out a night out on the piss and you see get back in the morning, your pockets are just swollen with just all manner of change. Anyway, there we go. CBDCs, central bank digital coupons. Have a think on that. Let me know what you think. Please add your thoughts down in the comments below on the video, and thank you so much for stopping by this video. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Thank you.